Well, all right. So on this call, we're going to be going over objection handling. So one thing I wanted to kick off before I start this call, if you guys remember last week, what we covered was energy, rapport, and mirroring your customer. All of these talks that I give to you guys are going to branch off each other, right? They're all going to be connecting like one by one. So it's important that even if you weren't here last week's call, I didn't get a chance to record it, so I apologize, but I will be sending out a PDF here by tonight. It's important to review the PDF and just recall your notes from last week to see how things connect. Now, the goal is not for you to like take everything that I say every single week and be like, cool, I'm going to implement every little thing that he does. It's more of taking the little pieces that stand out to you and say, cool, I'm going to implement this one thing this week, right? Because everything that I teach you guys, it doesn't matter unless we implement, right? Knowledge isn't power, it's implementation that's power, right? We need to implement what we learn. So it's nice to be able to take notes and listen to all these talks, but if we don't have any demos, what's the point? Right? You're just going to be, having all this information up here versus having to implement it. So make sure that you guys are making it a priority to say, all right, I'm going to try this out this week. I'm going to book 10 demos this week to use this XYZ, right? So for this message on objection handling, this one is probably a very important one to be able to utilize with even like tomorrow if you have an upcoming demo. Because show of hands, right? I'm assuming everyone in this room, even if you don't have your camera on, it's fine. You can even comment one if you need to. Raise your hand or actually just type in one in the chat. Type in one in the chat if you've ever got an objection, any objection in your demos and whatever you've done. Okay, cool. Brendan's got a one. Yep. Chris, one. Leslie, one. I'll put myself one as well. Right. You like it's inevitable. In this business, you are going to get objections. So here's something nobody tells you in your first week. The reps that make the most income this summer aren't the ones with the smoothest demo or the most energy or the best memorized lines. Honestly, they're the ones who don't fall apart the second a customer pushes back, right? Because you can do a beautiful demo, you can be totally likable, and the customer still might say one of these things. It's a little expensive. Let me think about it. Need to talk to my spouse, right? Gotta talk to my goldfish, whatever. And right there, most new reps do one of two things. They either panic and they start talking faster. They're like, yeah, but, and they try to like just say the script as word for word and that's it. Or they just fold and they're like, okay, yeah, let me show you something smaller. And both lose a sale. See, that moment, that's the whole job, right? It's the whole job in handling objections, right? How you doing, Lana? Thanks for joining us today. We're talking on objections here. So here's the one idea that everything today is built on. And I want you guys to write this down. An objection is never a no. It's a question in disguise. An objection is never a no. It's a question in disguise. See, it's too expensive usually just means, is this actually worth it? Let me think about it just usually means I'm not sure yet. There's something that I need to help me feel more sure about this. The objection's always wearing a costume, and by the end of the day, you're going to learn something that sounds almost backwards. The objection isn't the thing in your way, it's the exact thing you build your next move on. I'm curious, guys. Type in the chat box. What's the most common objection you have been getting so far? And I hope it's not. I already have knives. Uh, but what's the most common objection you've been getting so far? Okay, it's too much money. Just put it in the chat. It's too expensive. Too expensive. Okay. Expensive. Okay. Money, you want to save money. So it's interesting how the most common one you guys are getting is expensive. I'll tell you guys right now, if you were to ask anybody in my position, like years in this business, et cetera, actually the most common objection that we get is let me think about it. And so I'll get back to that pattern in a second here, but I rarely hear it's too expensive. And I'll share with you guys in a bit why that is. See, like I mentioned before, it's too expensive usually just means is they don't see the value yet, right? Or it's truly they might see the value, but you're on the wrong package and price set. So we're going to talk about the 5-step loop that you guys can do when a customer gives you an objection. So when a customer gives you an objection, you don't push back. You run this loop. It's the same 5 steps every single time in order. It's going to be a little advanced. So I want you guys to take it and not think, I'm going to be a pro at this right away. I'm going to be amazing at this the next customer. It's like, no, it takes time. You start looking for the patterns. So step number 1, pause. All right, pause. This is the easiest step that you guys can do. It's the one that a lot of people will actually even skip though. See, let's say the customer says it's too expensive. Before they even finish a word, you're already talking, defending, explaining, trying to sell harder, whatever. See, when you answer fast, you're going to look a little nervous. But when you pause, right, it gives that room to breathe with the customer. So when you pause, it calms you down as well so that your brain can start catching up. And it tells the customer you're fully hearing them and taking them seriously. And it puts a little weight on what they just said instead of just swatting it away. And it might feel like forever to you, but to them, it's like 1 or 2 seconds, one breath. That's it. See, the pause is not dead air. It's you being unrushed because you've got nothing to be afraid of. Right. So make sure that when you guys are listening to the objection, you truly pause and listen. Right. Pause and listen. Right. Take that moment to breathe and let them get their objection out fully. And I'll give you guys an example of this. Have you guys ever argued with someone, like ever, and you can tell they're just like trying to, or either they are interrupting you, or they're trying to interrupt you, or they're just waiting to get their next word out and not even listening to what you're saying? Who here's ever felt that before when they're in an argument with someone? It could be parents, relationship, whatever. Yeah, it sucks, right? You feel awful when you do it. So don't treat your customer the same way. Pause and listen. Step number 2, clarify. Clarify. Find the real objection. So after the pause, and you don't answer the objection yet, so you don't actually know exactly what it is yet, right? They might tell you, but you only know the costume. You only know what they've presented so far. So this is the one easy, curious question to see what's underneath. Think of it like a doctor, by the way. Like if I went to Chris and I'm a doctor and I said, I just gave you medicine. I said, here you go. Before asking a single question, you'd be like, this dude doesn't even know what's wrong with me. He just gave me random medicine. So it's the same thing with this, right? Don't just guess. You want to get curious. And the magic word is curious. It's soft. It's not pushy. It keeps them talking. It gives someone says, I need to think about it. You say, oh, absolutely. Hey, just curious though, what are your general thoughts? That line, by the way, guys, is money, right? Hey, just curious though, whenever they say, if I need to think about it, and you're trying to get clear on the objection. Yeah, totally. Just curious though, what are your general thoughts? And that one question does more than whatever closing line you might see on Instagram or whatever. So then watch what they tell you. I love it. I love it, Chris. It's awesome. Honestly, it makes sense. It's just really bad timing right now. We had the roof cave in, we had to send our money to school or our daughter to school. So it's a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so that tells you, oh, okay, it's a timing problem. They like the set. I don't need to sell them on the value. Like they see the value. Right now, it's more on the timing. And that's information for you to get. If they say, honestly, Chris, I don't think I'm gonna use it all. I'm a simple dude. I just cook, once or twice a week. I use like one knife for everything. That's information, right? For you to gather. It's a value problem. Oh, well, my husband handles all this stuff here. It's not even me. And that tells you you're seeing the wrong person, right? But it gives you information. You need that information. So it's three
That's why we're
completely
supposed to see couples together. Hello.
exactly. That's why you see couples together. But it's three completely different objections that all started with, let me think about it. But now you know which one you're actually dealing with. So make sure that if they're not giving you the objection right away, clarify and get curious. Hey, just curious. So, like, what are your general thoughts? Step number 3, repeated back, right? Repeated back. So now that you know the real objection, say it back to them in one sentence. And this does two things at once, and both matter. And you're going to notice, by the way, in your manual, you're going to see that, like when it says handle the objection on the bottom there, it's doing this process. I'm just teaching you guys the psychology behind this. But when you repeat it back, it does two things. One, it makes them feel heard. And there's a huge difference between a customer thinking, this kid's trying to just sell me, and hey, this kid actually gets it. So say their concern back in their own words. That's going to flip the switch. And the second thing it does, and this is the part that most people miss, it lets them even maybe correct you. Sometimes you'll repeat it back and they go, well, it's not really that. It's more the blah, 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 blah. And now you've got the real objection. The repeat back is just basically like a free, like, double check for them. Got it. So it sounds like you love Cutco. It's just the timing's the question for you right now. It's just your daughter, you have to pay for your daughter's schooling. Got it. So it's not whether it's good or not, it's just more the price being bigger than you expected. So like these kind of things. You're not agreeing with the objection, by the way. This is the key word. You're not agreeing with it. You're just proving that you understood it. Right? Keep it short. Never add but on the end of that sentence. Just hand it back to them. Clean, let them nod. And whenever you get that nod, it means like, yeah, you get me, right? It just means cool. We've clarified what it is. A little pro tip here, if you want to use this, adding the word. So the only reason you're not getting it today, it's because of blank. The keyword is only there. I'm trying to just solidify, like, there's nothing else besides this one objection you're giving. Right. And then they'll be like, yeah, that's the only reason. Cool. Awesome. And this brings us to step 4. Offer a suggestion. So here's when you can stop circling and give them actually a way forward. And there's no pressure. It's just giving them a path that they can utilize. And the suggestion is almost always like some kind of version of like, hey, maybe it's not doing everything today. Let's just start with the part that matters most. Right. So for example, let's say the objection is like, hey, I really love this Cutco set. It's just timing wise right now, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, totally understand, Mrs. Jones. Like, thank you for clarifying that with me. Hey, I have a suggestion. Do you mind if I tell you what that is? Go for it. Great. So a lot of customers in your exact same situation, they love Cutco, but it's just a little too much for them right now, or they just weren't planning on spending money on knives, right? But they could probably still use a good set of knives at home based on what we saw, right? Yep. So what a lot of customers actually end up doing instead is getting our starter set. Just for fun, keyword there, just for fun, can I show you what that looks like? Right. So it's a few less knives for a lot less money. Boom, dropped on the galley set. Right. And so your job is to find the solutions with and using suggestions in place. Hey, actually, instead of the full set today, let's just start you with what we call our starter set. It's just honestly just the essentials for the kitchen. Just for fun, can I show you what that looks like? Sure. See, a confused customer will always say no, but a customer with one clear next steps will say yes. You're not like abandoning the sale or like even slashing the value. You're just handing them a smaller, easier first step. And a lot of the times, dropping down is what's going to be the solution for this, by the way, for the objection. Right. And you can kind of feel out whether or not if you try to drop down and the customer is like, no, I just really want this set, Alan. I really want the set. Then you got to get clear on whether or not, like, hey, like if you really wanted to, does that fit the budget, or is that just pushing the envelope a little bit today? And you're getting curious, right? The more information that's out when you're handling these objections, the more you can work with, right? And it took a long time for me to be able to grasp this, but you can't be afraid of the objection when you're doing this. You can't be afraid of this kind of conversation. And the reason why some reps might be afraid is because the concept of money is like coming into place, and you're projecting what you feel onto the customer. Versus in reality, if you look at a third person perspective on this, it's just two people just trying to get clear on like, hey, what's the real issue? You're working with the customer. You're never working against. If it feels like you're working against the customer, that's on you. Not on them, not on the product, that's on you. Right? Work with the customer. That's it. Because the next step is what makes sense for them. And you have to offer that suggestion. And so the key line that if you want to take anything away from this step is just this. Can I offer a suggestion? Sure. Can I offer a suggestion? Hey, based on what you're telling me, can I offer a suggestion? Such a key line to be able to say this. Can I offer a suggestion? That's it. Why don't we start with blank? Step number 5. This is the last step. Flip it. So basically, their objection is your reason of why this makes sense. And this is what, turns a good rep into a CSP. So really slow down here, because most reps are going to treat this objection like a hurdle, right? Something to kind of get over and leave behind. Like, don't use this objection. Like, actually utilize what they tell you to handle it. Right? It's very backwards in the sense, but it's designed to be able to say, hey, I'm hearing what you're saying. Based on what you're telling me, this is what makes the most sense. So their reason for their no becomes your reason for the yes. So let's say, for example, price, the expense. It's just too expensive, right? What I want to do is first get clear. And I'm going to do this like in action so you guys can kind of see the steps working from 1 to 5. Right. So let's say Chris, I'm selling to Chris, and Chris goes, hey, it's just a little too expensive, honestly, right now. We got a lot of things going on. Yeah, totally understand. Hey, just out of curiosity, though, like, what are your general thoughts on Cutco? And then Chris is going to go, oh, well, we love it. Definitely could use a good set of knives. It's just, honestly, it's a lot right now, Alan, like with everything we got going on. Oh, totally understand. Like, thank you for letting me know that. So based on what you're telling me is like, you love Cutco. This makes sense for your kitchen. You love the set. It's just timing wise doesn't make sense right now because of the daughter graduating, whatever. Get the yes. Yep. Okay, cool. Hey, can I offer a suggestion? Sure. So a lot of people love this set, but not everyone gets it all at once, right? Based on my experience here. In fact, most customers, they actually start off what we call our starter set. So just for fun, Chris, can I show you what that looks like? Sure. Then you go to your manual. So go to your manual, go to the number 6. So this is our starter set, our galley set. It's a few less knives for a lot less money. Do your old approach, blah, 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 get to the whatever, like the offering the free shears or whatever it is. You can do it for 5 months. But before you start saying the exact same verbiage of like, hey, it's over 5 months, how does that sound? What I would add instead there, if I'm Chris, or if I'm talking to Chris here, I would say, and honestly, just based on what you're telling me, this is what a lot of customers actually end up doing because it's a few less knives for a lot less money. Right. And I'm using what they told me as their objection is to say, this is what makes sense. And that's it. And you kind of wait. And if you need to repeat that process again, you repeat it again until you get to what makes sense for them. And you just keep dropping down slowly. So part of all this, guys, is dropping down is a form of handling objections, right? Dropping down is a form of handling objections. Still follow your manual, still go close, but you have to start learning as to why you're saying what you're saying. You can't just repeat, like, especially for the handling objections part, you can't just repeat what's on the piece of paper, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not understanding where the customer is coming from, nothing's going to change. And the very, very last thing, guys, the number one thing that's going to help you get better is just having confidence, right? When you're closing, confidence. So, two things close a sale once you've run the loop, it's just confidence and conviction. Confidence is the customer feeling like, hey, you have them, you're taking care of them, you're not just chasing commission. And conviction is really simpler. It's if you hesitate, they hesitate. But if you believe it, they'll lean in. And remember that some customers, guys, they're just slow to think and decide. So really don't fill that silence with nervous talking or trying to rebuild value on Cutco, right? If they're really considering it and thinking and they're just kind of sitting there staring at the price or the knives or whatever they're staring at, let them think. And the last thing, because this is how you actually improve after every demo, whether it's a sale or it's a no sale, right? Always reflect. So the last thing I'm going to give you guys as a tip is reflect on the objection, if there was one, right? Ask yourself, did I pause or did I rush? Did I clarify or did I just start assuming? Right? Did I actually repeat their objection back to them or did I just try to go into problem solving mode? And I'll tell you guys right now, this also helps in real life. My wife, right? Sometimes, she's like complaining or saying something about her job or whatever happened that day. And like my mind will go into like problem solving mode. I'm like, here's how we're going to do this, make this better. Like, oh, here, let me offer you a solution. And she doesn't need a solution. She just needs to feel heard. Right. And there's sometimes you just need to feel heard. You need to vent. You don't need a solution. You just want to vent. And I have to realize that. I'm like, okay, let me just let her vent. Let me listen. And listening is one of the more important tools you can ever take away from handling objections in general that you can apply to real life. So ask yourself after handling objections, did I listen? Did I clarify? Did I try to butt in? Did I try to just solve the solution without actually hearing them out? Because the reason for no was it was never a wall. It's just the doorway that you get to walk through and you can help see what the actual objection is. You and your customer versus the objection, not you versus your customer. All right. So your challenge this week, guys, as we start wrapping up here, and in the last half here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys for a recent scenario that you got in a demo, right, for handling objections. And you're going to paint to me the context, and I'm going to share with you how I would have handled it. All right. That'll be the last section here. But my challenge for you guys this week is, again, don't try to run all 5 steps perfectly yet. It's just a lot. What I want you to do is really just nail the first 2, which is just basically pausing and then clarifying the objection. So next time a customer pushes back and they say, let me think about it, say, absolutely. Hey, just curious though, like, what are your general thoughts? Or if they say, Chris is just too expensive, honestly. Yeah, totally. It makes sense. Hey, just curious though, like, what are your general thoughts on Cutco though? And just shut up and listen. That's it. And then you just listen to the objection they gave you out loud and then flip it. So to end this, guys, in the chat box, I'd love to hear from you guys. Which of the five steps resonated with you the most? Was it the pause, the clarify, repeat, the suggest, or the flip? Just love to see feedback from what resonated with you the most from those 5 steps. Leslie says suggest. Brennan says clarify and suggest. Chris says clarify. Great. All right. Great, guys. And then next week, just so you guys know what we're going to cover for next week, we're going to be covering actually building value, which I think a lot of the building value aspect throughout your demo, based on the objections you guys are commonly getting, the too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. that'll be a really good talk for you guys to listen in on because what I cover next week will most likely cover 80% of those objections. And you will not get the too expensive objection ever again, unless it's someone that just truly can't afford it and they're just trying to figure out how to afford it. But anyways, and then Lana said repeat and clarify. Great. Cool guys. So that's my message for today. What we're gonna do for these last let's see, 15-ish minutes, 15, 20 minutes. We're just basically, I'm going to ask you guys any objections you got recently. I'm going to ask for the context, paint the picture as much as possible, meaning it was husband and wife there. Like, here's what I want it to look like. If Chris has as an example, if he's like, hey, I had a demo this last week. It was a husband and wife. They were new customers, meaning they've never seen or heard of Cutco before. They had bad knives at home. We were looking at the homemaker set, and this was their objection they gave me. That's what I'm looking for when I say we're gonna actually do a live role play of this. What I don't want is someone raising their hand and being like, "Oh yeah, this is the objection I got. What do I do?" And like giving me no context. Like we need context in the scenario so that way I can best tell you how to handle how they handle the objection. Sound good? Great. So kick it away. And if no one has any objections they want to throw at me, it's fine. We'll just go into phone jam. But I just
Have
want to
one.
see if we got one. Is that Lana?
Yeah.
Cool. Did I say
So
that
I
right?
had one where, yes,
Okay.
yes. I was like first time ever. Most people don't say it right the first time. Um, so I had one where she already knew about Cutco because of her friend that
Okay.
referred her. She was a new customer, never seen Cutco other than her friend, and then looking it up.
Okay. So
And
never seen
she,
Cutco besides her friend telling her about it. Okay.
yes,
Did her
exactly.
friend have Cutco?
No, her friend also did not get Cutco. I've done it with like almost, but they've all been giving me very similar objections. So like hers is a good middle ground of all of their objections. Um, so and then she, what was the other things I needed to let you know? Oh, it was not with her husband. Her husband was working on their house that they're renovating. That was the biggest objection, is that a lot of the people that I was talking with, they're in Tennessee, and so they are all like making their own houses, which for her, she was like, by at the beginning, she wasn't gonna get Cutco, and she was like, I'm not planning on it. It's too expensive. That was her beginning at the before we even started. By the end, though, she was like, I actually really love this and I want to get it really bad. But I already talked about it with my husband, and this is something that we can't do right now. Like we want to get it once we actually have a kitchen to put our knives into. So that was her
Mm.
biggest objection. I kind of just wrote it down and told her that I would keep reaching out to her for
Sure.
later, but she didn't want to do any of like the breakdowns of the drop down. So.
Got it. So when you say she didn't want to do any of the breakdowns of the drop down, you're saying you got to the homemakers. Like, what were you guys looking at specifically when you heard that objection?
She she was looking at the signature because I just done the going over like the higher better. So we went over the ultimate, and then the signature, that's her ideal. Like she would want to get the signature at one point. Um, and then that was like her main goal. But then I was like, okay, well, let's look at some like smaller pieces of starter sets. We went through everything, and then we went all the way down to where she was like, okay, I also like this space saver, but she still wasn't willing to spend the money on the space saver.
Mhm.
Um, and then even all the way down to the bottom, like two knives that she would have wanted and still not willing
Yep.
to spend the money on those
Yep.
ones. Even though she really wanted them, she had
Yep.
just already talked to her husband and decided not to get anything today.
Got it. Okay. Um, there was one other question I was gonna ask. Signature ideal said you went through the whole thing, and then what was the question I was gonna ask you? Oh, when you went through the objections, right?
Mhm.
And you were just sharing it with them. When you dropped down, let's say to the space saver set, what was her objection then? Like, it just still, it was hard set on. My husband said no. Was that basically what the objection was?
Basically, the objection was a mix of that, and then she just kept saying like, "I really want to get it, but I know I'd be kicking myself if I did end up getting it today because we had
Mm,
already decided on it, and we just can't financially right now because they're building their house, and so and then there a lot of her friends are in like the same position.
yeah.
They're just not. looking
Okay.
like they all by the end, it wasn't even like it's too expensive. It was more just we can't budget it right now. Like we want to invest in it, but it just is not in the budget to invest in right now.
Okay. So first to you, Lana, like I want to make sure that conceptually you're grasping what they're telling you in a sense.
Hmm.
Um, is it truly a like honestly, like really think about this as far as like from a homeowner perspective. They're building a house. Do you know you said they're building a house, right?
Yes.
How much do you think it costs to build a house?
I don't know in Tennessee. That's something that I have no idea.
Usually, if someone's building their home, like it's a custom build and they're probably building the inside of it as well too, do you think they're spending $1,000? Probably not. They're probably spending like
Love.
400, 500, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes a million, 2 million. Like it gets upward. It's definitely not in the five-figure range. It's six figures
Hmm.
and up for building a home.
Yeah.
We're talking about, let's say, the Space Saver set. That's like, I think, what, $700?
Hmm.
Like, truly, they say it's not in the budget at the moment. Do you think that if they spent money on the Space Saver set and they split it up over 5 months for 150 a month, do you personally think that would prevent them from building the home?
I don't think it would prevent them, but I also could see why they wouldn't want to because it would technically slow them down. Like, for example, that could buy them like two toilets in their house.
Then let me use a better example. A trimmer that's $90 on a toupee is what?
I don't think it's $50, but I don't think like that for me doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense when people say no to the reserve. Like, why they get the
That's what I mean.
pineapples.
It's not about the price. And to shoot you straight after, doing this 9 years and I own a home and I know how much things cost.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm spending $100 on something stupid, that I just was like on a whim I wanted to buy, but I still have bills to pay and all this other stuff as well,
Hmm.
and I'm not even building a home. So if they wanted to, they could. The real objection, honestly, from what you're telling me, was the husband. That's actually the real objection. The
Hmm.
other ones are just the surface level, like easy ones to share with you. Because customers, by
Hmm.
the way, guys, they're going to give you sometimes like two or three objections. There's usually only one real, right?
Hmm.
And so our job is to find that one real one and really think it through in a sense.
Hmm.
You're right. Not everyone's going to get the signature set right away. Maybe they're just uncomfortable. But I truly 100% believe if someone's a homeowner, they're building their home, $100 a month is a drop in the bucket for what they're spending, right? It's not going to
Hmm.
slow them down at all. Really, the real objection is the husband. So, anyways, here's how I would have gone about this so you can kind of see this laid out word for
Hmm.
word. So the second the objection came out of the husband one is the first thing I'm going to start getting clear on, right? So I'll pause. I'll let her say her husband objection, and I would have said, um, "What's her name? What's her name, by the way? The customer,
Maddie.
Maddie. Okay, oh, yeah, awesome, Maddie. No worries. So it sounds to me you do love Cutco. You do see yourself using this, right? But you've already talked to your husband beforehand, and he said not to purchase anything today. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right? And let her say yes. Cool. So, out of curiosity, money aside, if Cutco were, basically, if you were to take money out of the equation, is the only reason you're not getting it today because of your husband? And like, be truly upfront with that. Like, I'm not doing that from a place of like, really, it's only your husband. Like, I'm genuinely asking, right? I'm
Hmm.
being genuinely curious with that. And then she would respond, yeah, honestly, that's the reason. If you want a better way to say that, Lana, what I would have said as well is just like, hey, hypothetically, and I love this, by the way, guys, using the hypotheticals.
Hmm.
Hypothetically, if your husband were here right now and he saw everything we covered and did everything and he signed off on it, would you go for it? And if most likely she's going to be like, yeah, if he signed off on it, I would get it. That tells me it is the husband objection. Okay. So once I said that, let's say she says, yep, I would get it if my husband were here. Okay, cool. Totally understand. Hey, can I offer a suggestion? Sure. So it sounds like you like Cutco. It's just your husband's not here to see everything. And I totally understand. I don't want to put you, go against, your word for what you told him. Can I share with you what most customers do? Sure. And then you can drop down. And I wouldn't even for this specific scenario, I actually would drop down further than the galley set or basic set or wherever you were
Yeah.
to get to the easy yes. Because the thing is, once you get in the customer in the pattern of saying no, no,
No.
no, no,
Hmm.
it's like they get in there and like, I'm just gonna say no, right?
Yeah.
So you want the easy yes right away. And I know this might be backwards because your managers might be telling you like word for word, always follow it. But I'm telling you, there are times once you get clear on that objection and you know, like, I want the easy yes, I'm going to drop down to maybe the space saver right away.
Okay.
Let me share with you what most customers end up doing in your exact same situation, right? The space saver, honestly, one of the best sets that we make because it comes with the 5 most used knives at home, gets you a block to store and everything safely. But more importantly, it gives you and your husband a chance to actually try the set out for just blank today, which is like a drop in the bucket for building a home. And I'll even sometimes share that with the customer. And the best part is, Mrs. Jones, so you'll get to try it out with him for 30 days. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't think it's worth it, it's just pushing the envelope a little bit too much. Absolutely no worries. We'll send you a shipping label, send it back to the factory. You get your $120 back, no questions asked. But the best case scenario is you guys fall in love with it, you have it for the rest of your life. And whenever you're ready to upgrade to the signature set, just call me up and then we can get you upgraded to that set. And just so you
Perfect.
know how committed I am to my goals, what I'd be happy to do for you is on those shears that you like from the signature set, I'm just going to go ahead and include those with your set. Right. And that's
Hmm.
it. And say something. Now, whether or not they go for it, I'm not telling you that in this scenario they were going to go for it. My goal for you, Lana, is to start inching your way to the probability of closing it a lot higher. That's really
Hmm.
the goal. It might have worked, it might
Yeah.
have not. No, I'm not there. But I will say that you get to open the door more when you go that kind of route. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. And also, when the one thing I forgot to mention, because you said it's the same group of friends, most likely what's happening is they're now talking to each other. And so you might run into that same scenario or same situation. Just be aware of that. Um, so just to be prepared, like this might probably be the same
Yeah.
objection. I need to learn how to handle this beforehand.
Yeah, they're all very nice, and I don't doubt that they actually probably will get Cutco later,
Mm-hmm.
but it just I was trying to like piece out the different objections and I was like, how can I like word this differently? Because I totally get it, but I also don't get it when they don't get anything. Because I'm
Yeah.
like giving them such good deals that like I'm like, guys, just like get one piece. Even one piece will like make it so much easier for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay.
Yep. And that's the what's it called? That's the learning curve that you get
Mhm.
to use. And sharing your goals helps. And next week we'll talk more about the building value aspect and how that's going to help prevent that objection a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I hope that helps. Great. What other objections you guys got?
All right, I got one.
Go, Chris.
So it was last Wednesday. So I was at my doctor's appointment talking to like my doctors about like, what I've been doing, and then I was like doing some of my homework for AM boot camp training. So the
Mm-hmm.
doctor that was kind of attending me for my doctor's appointment kind of got curious. So I ended up giving the presentation to her same day with the needles in my arm during the doctor's appointment. So did the presentation, and then we ended up looking at the Homemaker Plus 8, and then I threw in the 5-piece kitchen tool set and the entertainer pack for free. And then they also were looking at the 4-piece steak knife set, the 6-inch vegetable knife, and then the sheath as well. And then that totaled out to 2287. And then on the 5 pay, that was 461.
Okay.
And then the main thing was, since it was same day, and they didn't really have the time to inform their husband, it was kind of just I need to let my husband know. I asked them if it was, or like, if you knew your husband, would they say go for it, or if they'd say talk to them, and then they, just said that I'd be talking to them since it was, still was pretty pricey. So we ended up, what we ended up doing was agreeing to call back later to schedule an appointment and see if we can get them a good deal.
Mm-hmm. Got it. This is like all in like why you have a needle in your arm?
Yep.
That's crazy. All right. Well, good for you, dude. You're Just always be selling, even at your doctor's appointment.
Yep.
So you'll get the guy, by the way, guys, this is the common objection you will get. This is even if you're not in the right environment. Let's just say Chris was in the right environment, he's in front of the laptop, whatever. Uh, you're gonna get this objection, quite a bit, especially if the husband's not there. So how do we handle it? Right? You follow the steps. So you pause, right? Ask a clarifying question, right? So if I'm Chris and I'm hearing her say all this, just like the husband and all this stuff, like, cool, awesome. Like, hey, just out of curiosity, like if your husband were here, you were close, Chris. The only thing, this is what I would add. If your husband were here and he saw the demo, the guarantee, heard about the guarantee, the free sharpening, right, and saw the discount in the deal, what do you think he would say? And then you wait to hear, because then this gives you more information to work off of, right? And then from there, you can offer the solution or the suggestion. Gotcha, totally makes sense. Can I offer a suggestion? Sure. A lot of customers, and this is the bandwagon effect, a lot of customers in your exact same scenario, they love Cutco, but like you said, the husband's not here to see everything, and you just state back whatever reason they gave you essentially. So actually, what most people do is they actually look at this set here. Just for fun, can I show it to you so you get all your options? This is a very key line, especially if you meet a customer who maybe is either a kind of like dead set on the knife set itself, or you can tell like you don't want them to be like, no, I just want this set, like that kind of thing. Like offering that like, hey, just for fun, can I show you what your options are, just so you can get all your options? Sure. And then you can show them the starter set, galley set, or whatever set you want to show them, basically, Chris. Now, my question for you, Chris, because this is my first thing my mind went through, is why the 4 steak knives and the 6-inch veggie knife on top of the homemaker plus sale?
So with the steak knives, they love having steak knives steak knife out a lot. They end up, buying more food or like, getting prepackaged things. So with the steak knives, it'd be something they could warm up and then cut with the steaks or yeah, cut with the steak knives. And then I was running through the accessories and then showed them or offered the 6-inch vegetable knife. And then that was something they ended up putting on the cart as well.
What was her reaction to the free entertainer pack and free kitchen tool set, out of curiosity?
I think that was what sold the homemaker, something that, we could put on there, which increased the value of the homemaker itself, because it also had the other free aspects of that as well.
So they were like super, like truly think they were excited for the kitchen tool set, and they were like, "What? I get the kitchen tool set as well?" Like really, I really really think back, because this is where you can get creative with your deals.
I think it was okay, so interested in the signature set. Signature set cost a bit too much, so they got the homemaker with the additional deals of the 5-piece kitchen tool pack and the entertainer pack, and then got the steak knives in there because they love the steak knife.
Mhm. Reason why I say this is because you can get creative with your pricing. Like, for example, if I knew for a fact they didn't care about the kitchen tool set, or I can even ask, like, hey, by the way, just how important is the kitchen tool set to you? Right? Oh, it's not that important. Well, instead of adding on the steak knives and the 6-inch vegetable knife, what if I do this instead? Hear me out. What if I just remove the kitchen tool set and put in the steak knives and the 6-inch vegetable knife in there instead? And I got you everything for just the homemaker set price. And they'd be like, wait, I can get all that and still this price? Yeah. Like, you'd be surprised how often like they don't care about one of the free stuff, and you can swap it out with something they do care about instead.
So you're basically still bonusing them. You're just bonusing something different instead. Okay.
Correct. Correct. So really, that's why like I personally, don't throw the kitchen sink at them all at once. I feel it out, right? I start seeing what they're noticing and they're liking instead. So that way I can use that as ammo. But in that scenario, that's what I would have done is I would have been like, hey, like how important is the kitchen tool set and the entertainer pack for you? Like you like would you say you absolutely must have these? And notice how I'm phrasing that question. Like I want to see if they genuinely do want them that bad. And they're like, no, like I am looking for reaction, right? Basically. Um, and then whatever they say, I'm just like, okay, cool. Hey, well, I have a suggestion for you. Instead of getting these two and adding on these two here, I'll just swap them out for you. Because I'm assuming you like the steak knives and the 6 cent vegetable knife way more than the entertainer pack and the kitchen tool set, right? And they're like, yeah, honestly, like I don't care about the peeler, the pizza cutter, whatever. Or maybe they'll say, like, honestly, the only thing we would like out of this set is the peeler, right? Great. But so what I'll do for you is I'll take those two packages out. I'll put in the 6 inch vegetable knife and the steak knives in there instead for free. And just as like an added thank you, like I'll keep the peeler in there for free as well too. And so instead of spending $2,100, all you spend a day is $1,735. All right, and then you just stay silent and wait for them to respond. And I don't know if it would close, but all I'm saying is like getting to that lower price point might have helped her pull the trigger. And let's say it's still the husband objection, right? What I always like to say with the husband objection is just after I give that deal and I say, hey, and just you know your husband better than me. If he were here and he saw the guarantee, the sharpening, right? The free sharpening for life and knows how bad your knives are at home and he saw the discount and the deal here, what do you think he would say? Oh, he'd probably say it's a little too much. That's fine. That gives you more info and information to work with. It's just you're trying to find that price point because in reality, if it's a husband objection, it's not necessarily they can't spend the money without their husband being there because honestly they do it all the time. It's a matter of they're just uncomfortable spending that amount without them there. So your job is what amount are you comfortable with? And that's your job to find out. And that's why dropping down, getting more information is so important. Does that make sense, Chris?
Yeah,
Cool. Does that help?
absolutely.
Okay, great. We got time for one more objection. Anyone has anyone more? Now we'll just end it here and we'll call it a day.
I had kind of a weird one. I was helping Jared this weekend, coaching people on the team, and we had a rep who's was seeing both the husband and wife.
Yep.
And so I was, of course, at the tail end of the whole thing. So basically, what I was told was, this is the husband and wife. They're interested in the homemaker set, but they're not sure yet. And so we did the whole, throwing in this, throwing in that. What was the objection? And the objection was they couldn't afford it, but they wanted. And I said, well, we can, call me at slide 13, basically, and we'll talk about the five. I'm saying that to the rep. We'll talk about the 5 knives that they do want. And they said, well, we don't want, if we can't, basically their attitude was if they can't get the set, they don't want anything. So they wanted to save until they got the set and they didn't want anything else. And we both were saying, well, if you get something today and do the buy now bonus and talking about the whole buy now bonus thing of getting them something today, and they were adamant that if they couldn't, basically if kind of that attitude of if I can't have what I want, then I don't want any of it.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is you'll get this a lot as well too. And it's hard because you're trying to like teach the rep as well too. But let me
Yeah,
teach you.
exactly.
Pretend it's your customer. So you know how to handle it and then you can teach it as well. What I like to say immediately, as soon as I hear a customer tell me that, of like, well, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get the whole thing. Right. That's basically what they're saying.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, gotcha. Hey, totally get it. I mean, honestly, I want a Ferrari, but I still got to drive to places, don't I? And I'll laugh. It's just a joke to kind of ease attention and be like, but I totally get it, Mrs. Jones. Like, it sounds like you love Cutco and you want it, but you're not going to get it unless you get all the things that you like, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I understand. By the way, like I have a lot of customers who feel the exact same way you do, right? So like I hear them out. repeat back their objection. They're like, yep, exactly. Because I need to feel understood first. Then I use for them specifically the bandwagon effect. I have a lot of customers who feel the exact same way you do. What I find a lot of the times is that those same customers are still cooking every day, right? Or still cooking. I mean, we eat every day. So what a lot of the times they actually end up doing instead is they actually get our favorite 5 pieces set, or whatever you want to call it. We actually get what we call them our 5 piece set, which is just their favorites actually from this big set here. And here's the best part, Mrs. Jones. We can get you started with these 5 favorite knives. And when you are ready and you've saved up or done your thing, you can actually get the full set at the price discount that I showed you today. Just for fun, can I show you how that works? Great. If you were to narrow down your 5 favorite knives, what would they be? Have them pick. Boom, 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 boom. Awesome. So these 5 knives normally go for blank. Cutco's discount here is for you is blank. And what I would love to do for you, if you're tired of the bad knives at home and you've been wanting Cutco for a while now, I will actually get you the free peeler to go with it, right? Whatever. Give a little gadget. And hear them out. If they still say, but we just would get the whole thing if we were to get anything. I totally hear you. But wouldn't you agree that at the end of the day, it's better to have a couple good knives than 1,000 bad knives? Wouldn't you agree that it's important to have a couple good knives than 1,000 bad knives? Yeah, great. And then you can even offer or drop down more or whatever at that point. There's a lot of directions you can go with. But the point I'm trying to make here is you need to do the steps of pausing, asking a clarifying question. You can ease attention with that joke. That's why I threw that in there, because it eases attention. It's just like, yeah, it's funny. Repeat back their objection, offer the solution. Like you'll notice, guys, like I might be saying different things, but the pattern is the same. The pattern is always the same for me. And it's just finding that solution for them. And I use bandwagon a lot. If you guys notice, it's like, hey, most customers in such a situation actually end up doing this instead. Can I show you what that looks like? Just for fun. Sure. Boom. Does that help, Leslie? Great. Of
Yes, very much. Thank you.
course. All right, guys, we're gonna end it here. So we will kick this off again next week on building value. All right. Text your your friends and people in your office to hop on these calls because it's free. It's open to anybody, and I think hopefully it provides a lot of good value to you guys, and you guys can utilize this in your demos moving forward. So, anyways, if you guys have questions, feel free to message me on the group me or text me. Ask your managers for my number. And feel free to ask me any questions throughout summer here. So appreciate you guys again. Thanks again for letting me, rant to you guys and give you the goods. And I will see you guys next week. All right. See you guys.
Thank you, Alan. See you later.